A few days ago, a YouTuber named Alexander Grace, who has a lot of very interesting things to say and is a lot less He-Man Woman Haters Club than many of the other men on the internet, posted a video that he made where an 18-year-old young lady posed on a dating app as a guy to get a feel for what it is like for men to date online. And that's what prompted this video, because I just barely got a smartphone in December of last year. I only got a smartphone for two reasons. Number one, I got it because my carrier told me that my Motorola Razr V3 was going to be discontinued, or they were no longer going to service it starting in March of this year. Second of all, I was going on a trip to Europe and a trip to the Caribbean, and I wanted to make sure that I had a cell phone that would work in a foreign country, that I could rely upon, that had certain features, camera, maps, etc., that my other phone did not, because my buddy's phone would not work where we were going. So that's the only reason. But as a consequence of having one, I did an experiment of my own as a scientist to see what it would be like dating online. And I've written previously on my blog about my experiences online dating, and I'm sad to say that they weren't much improved in this case either. I was on two different apps, the names are irrelevant, just to see for 30 days. I did not keep very statistically relevant numbers, but I can tell you that I didn't swipe on everybody just because she was hot. If a woman seemed visually interesting and appealing to me, then I would read some of her profile, and there were plenty of women that I didn't swipe right on because there were things in their profile that made me decide that I didn't care how good they looked, that we were never going to make a good match. There were two things about it that made me swipe left, even on women that were physically appealing. Number one, there were women who were physically appealing to me who had things in their profile that said, if you meet this criteria, then don't swipe right on me. Some of them was, if you have a picture of a dog, if you have a beard, if you are not a member of the political party that I happen to support. And so, fine, I'm not going to waste my time. Left swipe it was. And it's funny because I did have women I must have swiped left on who swiped right on me, who don't know that's why I swiped left, because I had matches that I couldn't see because I wasn't a paid member, who must have been people I swiped left on who swiped left on, or swiped right on me. Number two, the other reason why I wouldn't is because there were things in their profile that I view as red flags. First and foremost, any behavior that even remotely approximates the behavior and attitude of my ex-wife, I kick that down the street quicker than a catboat in a hurricane. I am not interested in any of the attitudes, beliefs, principles, and values that marked her behavior and her demeanor towards men. So if you gave any inkling that you were like her, done. I don't care what you look like. I don't care if you're better looking than she was. I am done. Okay? So there were plenty of women I swiped left on for whatever reasons. I have my own things I don't like. Some of the things include things like, if you're tattooed, no. I also find it a huge red flag when women write spiritual. That tells me they believe in something, but they don't practice a religion. Well, if you're not going to practice it, you're not going to get better at it. And if you're not going to get better at it, you're going to hold it against me because I want to practice it. At least that's in my experience. Single moms. Not that I disapprove of women who have kids. If you're a 19-year-old with two kids, that tells me you can't make good decisions. I did go on a date years ago, not off an online setup. This is actually the only blind date I was ever set up on. The person who set us up actually came with us and brought his wife, so it was a double date. And she was a widow. That was not a problem for me whatsoever. We didn't get together because she had things that were outlandish that she demanded, and I was not interested in meeting them. But a widow, not the same thing. If you're 24 years old, you've got 3 kids, I'm sorry, I'm not ready for an instant family. And if you've got 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, I don't know anything about raising kids. I don't have any kids, so I've dated girls with kids that I've met organically, so I'm not going to waste any time meeting them on a dating app. What I can tell you is, In all of the time that I swiped in those 30 days on the two apps, there were only 3 women who also swiped right on me. 3. And I'm not top shelf in the looks department, and I had maybe a sort of blasé and uninteresting profile, but I also believe in being honest, which apparently is not the case on most dating apps. And so they were probably not interested in the picture in a paragraph that I proffered them. So there were only 3. The first one is the only one who actually engaged in conversation. And I got the feeling after exchanging back and forth messages with her that she really wasn't that interested in having a conversation, because she would wait a long time and she was wishy-washy, flip-floppy, non-committal. So I let that one die. The other 2 that swiped right on me and I swiped right on them never ever sent me a message. So let's say, for grins and giggles, I saw 1,000 profiles in 30 days. I don't know how many I swiped right on. Let's say it was 200. I did not swipe right on people just because they were 9s and 10s in the look department, because there were plenty of 9s and 10s that I swiped left on for various reasons. Of those maybe 200 that I swiped right on, only 3 of them swiped right on me in return, and only 1 of them talked to me. 0 of them were interested in going on a date. What's my conclusion? Dating online is a complete waste of time. The last time I dated online, there were 2 people who engaged in conversation with me. One of them was a post-op transsexual. In other words, a girl who had been born a man. Not my thing. The other one, I think, because I can't prove it, was a man pretending to be a woman who was caught because I called them out on something I caught them in a lie, and within a week the profile was deleted. It was gone. So I don't know how many, because that was longer, and it was like 10 years ago, but there were only 2 people who actually engaged in any conversation with me. Neither one of them went anywhere. This has been a complete waste of my time. Okay? Because you have to catch their interest in the first impression in a milliseconds. With a picture and a paragraph, you must be creme de la creme. I'm not a 9 or 10 in the looks department. I don't have a picture up of my bank account balances, because that would create a whole nother kit and caboodle of problems for me. They're not even interested in finding out about me to find out if we would be any kind of interest, even if they read the paragraph, which I doubt, enough to go on a date with me. Now, to their credit, they didn't go on a date with me just to get a free experience or a free meal, which I appreciate. But it has been a complete and absolute waste of time. So I don't have them anymore. I did this from January 22nd when I returned from Belize until just before the end of February. So I was on there during Valentine's Day, and that still didn't motivate any women who were alone for Valentine's Day to even initiate conversation with me in the dating apps. 0. Now, I've met people who've had good experiences. I have a friend from high school who met a husband online. I have a family member who met his wife online. I have an ex-student, Natalia, she was funny, who years ago, 2014 or 2015, was telling me I should try Tinder because she met her husband on there. That's not a typical result. I'm pretty sure Tinder is for one-night stands and hookups. But it got her a husband. She was a nice girl. They seemed like they were a good match, and if it worked for her, fantastic. I can say from the time that I have spent, it is a complete waste of my time. Because I meet people, and I've watched people who meet me, look me up and down, and decide I am never going to be anybody in their book. It's phenomenal. Not that I don't do that too, but it's even worse if it's online and you don't get any chance to interact with them. Even to say something dumb or cheesy or a pickup line, you don't get to do any of those things because all they do is look at your picture and go, and you're done. So maybe I just don't know how to do it, but I really think that it works better, at least for men, to meet people the old-fashioned way. Maybe you don't meet as many, but at least you have a chance for a conversation first. At least someone introduces you to them, or you went to a place where you have something in common to talk about, rather than just, let's look at some random pictures. Another one I recommend, Keeping It Keith, another YouTube channel. He's done a couple of them where he's actually done it while he's swiped, which is an interesting exercise, and made comments on the people, and then he did a follow-up on the ones who responded to him. And he's about my age. He's a couple of years older than I am. I'm not as overweight as he is. I also don't have any kids. I don't know how we stack up financially, but it's interesting that he didn't have any better of an experience, although he did have more people talk to him. And I don't know if that's because they recognized him from his YouTube channel, or if the place in the country where he lives, which is somewhere in Florida, is a little bit different. Now granted, last caveat, and then I'm done with this video, I do live in Las Vegas. In Las Vegas, if you're not an 8 out of 10 as a woman, you're average. An average woman here is an 8 out of 10, and a lot of that's fake. There's a whole lot of women who've had plastic surgery, fake up clothes. I've only met one girl who confessed to wearing a corset. That's a normal historical thing, but none of them look really like they were born looking. And there's a lot of fake and pageantry and semblance over substance. And also there's a lot of high rollers here and a lot of money here. So even though the average median income in Vegas is lower because the standard of income, or the housing standard, cost of living is lower, you don't have to be wealthy to be comparative in the same part of the middle class as you would be making over $250,000 in New York City. It's still not impressive, because in order to have the finest of things, you must have the ability to pay for it. I've had students who have looked me up on the internet because my wage is a matter of public record, and decided I didn't make enough for them. So there's a lot of shallow, superficial people here. There's also a lot of tourists. That's another thing that when I was going through profiles, if they were just here as tourists, left. They're not really here. So I ignored a lot of them because they were from foreign countries who were here for the week, for the weekend, for the night. Because, actually, I think I started this for New Year's. And I ran it New Year's through Valentine's Day. So there were girls here who were here just to celebrate New Year's and then go home. So I'm like, I'm not wasting my time with them. That's not... You can't build the odds of building a relationship out of that are 3,720 to 1 against. And I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not wasting my time anymore. I've deleted them. I haven't loaded them back up. I'm not going to date online. It offers women too many options and puts too many expectations on men to wow a woman in a few seconds, when I don't know if I want to keep her either, but she won't even give me a shot. So, not worth my time. If I want to date, I'll go pick up a container of them either at Costco, or I'll go on campus and pick them out of the palm trees. Because I guarantee you, this time of year, 106 degrees outside, every single one of them will be a hot date. Anyway, enough of my puns. If you have found your significant other online, fantastic. I'd love to hear your success stories, why they were successful. If you've had bad experiences, I'm interested in those too, because it helps us to feel like we're less abnormal when we find out that our experience is actually more ubiquitous than we imagined. So if you've got something to share, I'd love to hear it. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Godspeed, take care out there, and stay vertical unless you're sleeping.